Welcome, it's SVPod. How y'all doing? Stanford Steve is here. Red is not. We came back from the airport, live and direct to the house. Red has been boarding.
He's not home yet.
No, but when he gets home, it's going to be.
We'll hear the door.
I hope they have enough sense not to say, you want to do a podcast? Because he'll be like a bat out of hell. 100-pound directed missile to come find the big man.
You look tremendous. You got like a glazed donut look going.
Freckly. Blotchy.
How's the toe?
Fine.
Good sand. Get in the sand and the water. It's good for the toe.
Turks and Caicos, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, come on.
Exceptional. Exceptional. What a spot. I got some spots to mention later at some point.
Just tell me one thing.
Yes.
This is, oh boy, I'm going to get in trouble here. 14 years? That was the last trip my wife and I had alone.
Okay.
Honeymoon.
Okay.
And I kind of don't want to go back because I have it this heaven setting.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is Cafe Somewhere still there?
I don't know. Didn't go.
Oh, okay. That was like my favorite. Just shack on the beach.
I got a shack for you.
Fish tacos for days. Conch shack?
Omar's.
Okay.
Best fish taco I've ever eaten in my life. Omar's. And you go off the grid a bit, but the people know. It's not like some secret, but Omar's fish taco.
Careful going off the grid in the Turks.
All right. Me and the Turks.
Casino?
Did not play cards. I'll get to that.
Okay.
But I'll just say that the folks in Turks love ESPN.
Yes.
Big consumers of the sports, all of it. And so we're good anywhere in the Turks. You, me, we're good.
Okay.
Omar's for the fish tacos. Also had the best burrata I've ever had. I asked Steve, are you a burrata guy? He said,
what's that?
For God's sake, it's a tomato cheese appetizer, a little balsamic Vita Italian joint. It's like built into the hill. It's like a Santorini vibe.
Mm-hmm.
My God, it was spectacular.
Did they have cacio e pepe for
No,
Charlie?
I had a lemon pasta dish with some lobster. Unbelievable.
Easy, getting in on the fish. I like it.
Hey, man, you're in Turks?
Fresh.
Like I figure what I ate, my Omar's meal had to be alive that morning. Rest in peace in my belly. There you go, Steve. There's a burrata.
Oh, okay.
There's a little picture, some tomatoes. Depends. You can go like the cherry tomatoes, but when you go high end,
the balsamic's key.
It's got to be good.
Yes.
And the key to I don't know what
I like it wet more than the glaze.
I agree with that. But the key with the tomato, it needs to be a thinly sliced, like heirloom jaunt. And then there was some crispy scallions. I don't know what was going on. Anyway, shout to Vita.
Eat it with your hands?
Yes. No. Fish tacos, yes. Shout to Omar. Shout to all the people and the beautiful people of the beautiful island of the Turks and Caicos. This last quick thought, because I don't want to forget. If you go there, whatever your cash threshold that you're comfortable carrying is, bring it. Like if you're like not a big cash person, but maybe like I like to
peel it off.
I like to help the people to help me out. There's nowhere to get money.
Oh.
Cash machine at the casino, it's down. How do you operate a casino with a cash machine that doesn't work? What are you doing? Button it up.
Oh.
Get your funds straight. No, cash machine's down. There's one at the grocery store, but it's closed. Go to the grocery store. Sometimes it works. Sometimes that's it. There's two on the island. Like, you don't have banks? They closed it. I'm just saying, like the cartoon bags with the money sign on the side, bring one if you're a cash person. I get that most things could be done with the cards and what
take care of the people.
But if you're a tipper, and I like to take care of people that take care of me, just make sure you got take care of y'all chicken. Make sure you got some paper in your pocket. Anyway, back very freckly. Spent a good amount of time on the phone. spent the beginning part in a very foul humor.
Mm.
I was as mad as I've been in a while.
Yeah, I woke up to a text from you day of the game, and I'm like, oh, boy.
We'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Final Four's 0-1 seeds. Shout to Jay Billis. He said, look, San Antonio, the one time we've had all ones, he came on the show. He goes, look, I'm picking all the ones. I get it. And now that we have it, and we'll talk about how Florida got there, it took a miraculous series of events, an incredible 2 minutes and 51 seconds, yes. But these four teams from the start till now have demonstrated that they're better than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
They just have.
Yeah.
Different styles, but similar pedigree. Coach Sampson talks about dudes. I sent him a note last night. I said, all San Antonio is dudes everywhere. You got them. Psyched for Houston to get another bite of the apple when it comes to Duke. They didn't get the Shed game. If he doesn't get hurt, who knows? But now they get another shot. Different team. But we have Auburn. We have Florida. We have Duke. We have Houston. I'm curious where you'd like to begin in terms of the last weekend's play and what was most interesting, what stood out, what was a wow thing for you.
Texas Tech, the range of emotions. I can't.
Bless their hearts.
I mean, you got no business coming back and winning that game, but you did it.
Who, Florida?
No, Tech
against Arkansas.
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
Like you're there. You're all the way out west. You know the games were terrible that night, and then all of a sudden, you find some things. You still don't have McMillan, and you're doing it, and you gut it out, and you get it done.
I don't know how.
Exactly, but you got there. And then a game, and I didn't give him a chance. I just thought Florida's got to figure this out, and Tech came out and gave it to him.
They were better.
Yeah,
they were the better team for 37-09, I guess.
There you go, good math. But yeah, I think of how close it is for that team.
Oh boy.
You ride the high of the Sweet 16 win. And you get McMillan back. He was a difference maker. God, he could shoot. And you're that close. And you saw McCaslin. I've watched the game the last 10 minutes literally 5 times. And there's a cut he talked about in the post game. There's a couple times they went too fast, and obviously you have the missed fouls.
Got to make your fouls.
But good God, you got to get a hand up on Clayton. I don't care where he is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Houck was unbelievable. There's a possession, 71-64, where Condon gets 2 enormous rebounds, and they end up, that's a shot clock violation, but then they come back and take the lead. But I just think that's the suddenness of this tournament, man. I can't think about that, knowing that you were that close and you saw the fans. I mean, it's a real loyal fan base. McCaslin's done an unbelievable job with that roster.
He has.
And Florida's going instead.
And here's the hard truth when it comes to that for Texas Tech. You never get over that.
No.
There's just no getting over it. That's a scar that is visible, and there's no covering it up, because that's a game you have to win because you're better. You're better than one of the 4 best teams. You're better from start to not finish. Got to finish. Got to make your fouls. That's a little running joke here, but it's not. Look at that game. How many front ends are 1-and-1s?
2 in a row.
And that, this is where is momentum real. I don't know. Put that tape on. Tell me what you see.
Oh.
Tell me what you see. It's a tidal wave, and it's it's one after another, and Houck's been nuts. Man, he's made some dough. He's 6'10", handles, fearless.
Yeah. And they did the Maryland game without Condon.
Correct.
Who has been as good as anybody.
I know, but it's wild. During the regular season, yes, he hasn't been.
No.
And that's the scary part if you're Auburn. Or if you're on the other side. Condon's going to have a game.
Yeah.
He hadn't yet.
No. But I just the makeup of that team, I really thought Golden found his guys. He gambled, announcers pointed out, he had, going into that last couple minutes with no timeouts. It was, down 9, you win in regulation, and if there's another foul, you're on the verge of not even covering the 7.5 for Texas Tech. Like, that's how close it felt, just like UConn, just like Florida did to UConn. So Texas Tech, for sure, I thought of. The Duke region, good God, am I glad I don't have to see Caleb Love anymore. Oh, my God. Like, no matter where, I'm like, here he is again. And it's anywhere on the court. And he hits those threes where they're on the way down, and you just hear the back of the rim. And I'm like, they just wouldn't go away.
What was the biggest lead in that game? About 17, 19, something like that?
Yeah, they got it to 16.
Upper teens.
Yeah.
I thought it was more than that.
The end of the first half was enormous. We'll see that one on Bad Beats for sure. But Arizona, I thought, I said it all week, they scared the crap out of me because he's fearless, and he goes on a run that single-handedly almost gets him in that game. And the Alabama deal, I couldn't believe to see it in person. The Duke people were super confident because of the size they have in the backcourt. And Alabama has their way of going about things, but there was no plan B. There was no, at some point, what's wrong with a 10-footer? It's open. It's wide open.
But their philosophy is shots at the rim or threes, the end. And I don't know how many shots felt like they rattled halfway down and out. There were a number of those. If you make this one, now you start to see a path through Alabama, and none of them went. And Sears, who went from going 10 of 15 from 3 against BYU, was in hell from the jump. 2 of 12, looked shook.
Yeah. I thought the charge was a charge, too. Where they got there.
I agree.
There's no need for that.
You know what's wild about that block charge, especially when it comes to Duke, that there was a time when that was like a plague on the game. Just people diving in and taking charges. It's largely, people don't do it that much anymore, partly because the game's changed so significantly.
They changed the ruling on it where you're sliding over, that's automatic block.
Understood.
And guys have stopped doing it.
But that stopped people doing it.
Correct.
But sometimes it's still a solid play defensively if you can get there and establish position, and that was, I agree with you, right call.
Yeah. But it's, again, Duke's a super confident bunch. I thought that was Flagg's worst game he played in months. But the other guys rallied. Khan had a great game plan. Malawach is, I gotta put him on the list of my favorite Duke players of all time. Like, what he brings to the table and the ability to just always be at the rim for a catch.
We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. I said he's the one of all the people on that team. He's the one that I think is the biggest game wrecker for the other team, because you have to account for what he is defensively, because he takes away airspace, and then you come up because Knipple or Flag or whomever is driving. The minute help comes, just throw it to the rim.
And defensively, it's even mind-boggling. I was talking to our NBA guy, Rosillo, and he was just like, how does he do that? I was like, it's unbelievable how he can move his feet. Because on the opposite side where you say, all right, just do what they do to you. Just throw it over. You can't throw it over him. He's that long.
No.
The wingspan's insane, and he's 7'2", but the way he moves his feet and how hard he plays. I mean, he's in on every rebound. It's just a real treat to watch. I was really impressed with what Duke did and how effective they were. They had a couple of those slip screens that they ran, especially with Evans early, got a layup. They did the thing with Knipple on the out-of-bounds play. But
he had 41 in those 2 games, I believe I saw.
Yeah.
It started with a 4. I might have been cheating him a couple, but
he missed some bunnies too.
Well, he had big games.
So, and I thought they were going to really, really need Proctor, but he came out, hit a couple early, and then hits the dagger at the end.
They just jumped him, and then you call it. It's a combination of no plan B. And then Duke, something about him. They sometimes people get spooked by who they're out there with. And in a league as deep and as talented as the SEC, I'm really hesitant to say that's what happened to Bama. I just think they're all of a sudden in deep water and nothing's going, and you're down right out of the gate, damn near double digits. Mm-hmm. And what have we said about Bama for the past couple of years? They play the same if they're up 15 or down 15. They don't care. And largely they didn't. They kept doing what they do. They just never had that one stretch of like from the under 16 to the under 12 where they made 2 or 3, and all of a sudden it felt different. It just never could get that. And that's a really good team. Well, they score $113 on BYU?
Yeah.
Who was decided they'd go under screens? Okay. Well, I wouldn't do that again. But I think that clearly Duke, and I give you a hard time because you root for Duke, that you'll say the other side, and you made cold takes exposed or whatever that one site is about saying Bama's free money.
Yeah, I had to delete that one.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to say anything is free money.
Oh,
with
right.
the ESPN bet thing. So that's why I deleted it.
You didn't delete it because you're getting
I was told to.
Heckled unmerciful?
No, that I don't care about that.
If
people don't get the joke, like, where you been?
Kind of one of his lanes here. I'm not calling
If you know, you know. Still have plenty of texts from supposed friends that don't get it.
That's your Russillo thing. Russillo does a lot of next level stuff that people don't get. That's yours.
They really don't get it.
They really don't get it.
It's
but
amazing.
That team of the four, how good's your good? I think it's pretty clear their good's better than anybody else's.
I don't think they should be that big of a favorite.
What's the number?
They're minus 110 now, or plus 110 to win it.
You got to beat 2 1s, and they see Houston as being, I hesitate to say easier because nothing's easy against that team. But I presume that it's a combination of that and the way Duke's looked to date.
Understood. And I guess they got to do that, too, with the amount of money. I mean, we talked about before the tournament of the amount of people that picked Duke and, picked them to win that region. I was totally on the other side. I thought they had the toughest road. But they played the best in the biggest spots. And that gets me to Houston. Houston, Tennessee was the one game I wanted in the Elite Eight more than anything.
Talked about that from the time the bracket came out. You said, how can you imagine being a ref in that game and a rock fight and how physical and intense? Speaking of being in hell.
I feel so bad for Tennessee because I say it all the time. When you get that stage and you get there and I'm taking the past out of it, never being in a final. You just want to play well. You want to play well on that stage. And to watch Houston affect them early, and then Tennessee keeps grinding. But then when you watch it again, the open looks, they get open looks, and they're short on everything. It's because of the effect that Houston has on you defensively. And you don't, and that scares the shit out of me for Duke because they affect you like no other. And then the rebounds, forget it. You're not getting there. So I think it's the best possible scenario for a team to beat Duke is how Houston plays because they're not going to give in on anything. And this is why I wanted that Houston-Tennessee game because I truly believe both teams were different than in years past when they had the high ranking because they're better offensively. Houston's way better than they have been. Like Cryer was terrible against Purdue.
Terrible.
You knew he was coming out flying. And Uzan has been what a pickup. I mean, Kelvin talked about how he goes, we go. He was terrible at the beginning of the year. That team – who they lost to? San Diego State at the beginning of the year?
Yep.
And to see them grow because of him. You saw him start making plays at that game against Kansas. I believe we followed that night, big Monday game. A while, or maybe it was a Saturday, whatever. But they're as tough as anybody, man. I mean, you got to bring it for 40, maybe even more. But you got to make shots because you don't get a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get it.
I think Fran does a great job of explaining like the intensity of the practices and like the medicine ball stuff they do and with just they rebound medicine balls. Okay. I mean, what Michigan State puts on football helmets and they do their thing. Like toughness has got to be a learned trait, I mean, it's inherent in some people. And then if you're going to play in either one of those programs, you're going to have to figure out how to become it if you aren't. So I think it's the toughness and the grown-ups of Houston, some guys that have been around against a much younger, but a bunch of lottery guys on the Duke side that have played like the one of all these ones. Go ahead.
They played last year in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
7 guys from Houston played in that game, and 1 played for Duke. The world we live in that we will get to.
There you go. That's a chance for Houston to a get-right game, like get right with the Cosmos, right? Had a chance against them last year and lost their leader in Shed, who was my favorite guy to watch last season. So that's awesome.
You talked about their road also having to go to Indianapolis.
Yeah,
and now they get to go to San Antonio.
Right. You get
watch out. There'll be a lot
fair.
of cowboy hats down there.
There will be, and there'll be some dudes. That Purdue game, people talk about the Mackey whistle and the Purdue whistle. They tend to get a decent whistle. They didn't in that game, and you could certainly make a case that as great as Uzon was, like you extend the arm and I mean
up a lot of bounds.
That could easily have been a foul call. It was not. At best, you're Purdue with the ball. You're going to have to score in a very short period of time, go the length of the court. But at worst, you're not losing to an incredible inbounds with 2.9 to go, which they ultimately did. It's just genius. It's genius chess where you anticipate the switch and you use the switch against them, and you end up with, it's got to be like slow motion for Painter, where you're like, oh no, it's always the inbounder, and there he just steps right in, and it's got to take forever to get from I'm catching it to I'm laying it in, because Purdue's going to fly to the ball. And that game of all the games of the weekend, the Arkansas Tech game was exceptional. The Purdue game was unbelievable. Then clearly the Texas Tech Florida is sort of a game we'll talk about forever. But that Purdue game, I felt like, man, that was a rough whistle they got, and they're still going to have to score there late. I don't know if they would have, but it felt like kind of at worst case, maybe there's 5 more minutes for them to figure it out, but that's not what happened.
No, and there's a Instagram account out there, this guy PGC Basketball. He does an unbelievable job of breakdowns. I've been following for a while, and he's been on this Painter deal about how thorough they are with screens, defending and running them. And he does it out. And then he went in on the out-of-bounds play. And what happens is people see Braden fail. That's what they do. They call it like a peel switch, where he's going to the floater, and then the rotation's supposed to come around. So he's already gone. And it's just a credit to Houston, like you said. And Kelvin talked about it after the game. We have to run something that we've practiced. And he's like, you get plenty of walkthroughs during the tournament. One thing we know we practice is out-of-bounds play. And that's what they went with. You think about the scenario, talk to guys that coach. They've talked about NBA teams doing this peel switch where you switch off the inbounder. You got to be really, really invested in that, man, because like you said, 2 seconds, defend for 2 seconds, and then you bail on the out-of-bounds. I always am from the old school, having a guy, I watch Duke all the time with Malowich under the hoop to try and throw it over that guy. 2 seconds left. All you need is a tip ball, and you're getting another 5 minutes.
Right.
And you take that scenario out, but that's their belief. And I do want to say, Painter, what he's done to still get open looks for his guys, they're not the most talented team.
No.
But good God, can that guy coach? And I just wish he had more success in March. And like him, Rick Barnes, those guys, they fall by the wayside, and everybody talks points to Final Fours. They still know what the hell they're doing. It's not Rick Barnes' fault that his guys went over 14 from 3.
Right.
Some players are getting more than the coach now.
Well,
we'll get to
I don't know, rumor out there about the number on the point guard from Purdue. Like, it's the going rate's mid 2s to 3, and he might have a 4 next to his name. That's the story.
He had a hand in every single hoop in the second half.
How about the patience with one on the shot clock? I'm like, oh, he's got to pull. Oh, no, he doesn't. He's got an open guy in the corner.
Yeah.
Catch and shoot bottoms. I'm like, that's so pretty. I rewound it just to like shake my head at the, like, we kid around about keeper poise. That ain't poise. That's Sam Cassell wheelbarrow. Like, to have the minerals, bro. And then you got to trust your guy's going to make it, and he did.
Yeah,
tied the game. That game was bananas. I thought it was bullshit that Houston had to play in Indianapolis, because it was. Then I thought the whistle Purdue got was pretty poor. And then the play that Houston runs is incredible. And then they put the clamps on Tennessee, and they're heading there. And the one team we haven't talked about is Auburn. And
I think they found their mojo in Atlanta. Wow.
Pettiford is I'm trying to figure out how to say it. I think it's just real simple. I just love the juice the guy plays with. It's a combination of high level feel and IQ and Jersey guy. That game. And then once it's on fire, they went from down 9 to up double digits on
20-2
on Michigan immediately. And he was just out of his mind. And look, Broom, he was the key against Michigan State. I looked it up. I think the team shot, Auburn, I want to say, shot 33% as a team other than him. And he, against the front line, Michigan makes it so hard to do anything. And I believe Broom was 10-13. Double-digit boards, got hurt. Everybody was freaked out. Immediately comes back in, big bucket. But they beat two of the Big Ten's best. They didn't roll them the way because you're not getting cooperation from the other side. Tom Izzo doesn't want to play the way you play.
I am in one of those capture pools, and I had who did Auburn play in the first round? Can we find that?
I can't remember.
Let's go to the bracket.
There we go. We're going to go backwards. Somebody listen to the pod that's an Auburn fan.
Alabama State. I had them in the capture pool.
Okay.
So they covered against Auburn. So then I overtake Auburn.
So you got Auburn.
I got Auburn. A couple $100K on the line. No big deal. No, I'm just kidding.
6-figure number?
Yeah.
Is it?
And the end of that Michigan State game, I'm losing my mind because how Bruce Pearl does it, I don't like. He's a madman.
Call God.
But I absolutely love him because his guys respond. And if you watch closely, there's some shit they do offensively that is so good. And Broom, him against the Michigan bigs, how he's still effective playing underneath the rim, the way he skips passes from the post, gets guys open looks all the time. It's genius what they've done. He said he made a promise to the other big because he was going to transfer, that he was going to start, and they would make it work with Broom. But what Pearl has built there, man, and you and I have been there, and I think the world of that fan base because of how fucking crazy they are. But good God, did they overtake Atlanta. I think somebody had 105 miles it is. It was, I mean, that swoon against Michigan in the second half, and I love Dusty May, but you could even, I mean, he's got his hands on the hips, like what Pettiford's making shots, they're rolling.
There's no timeout. There's nothing to say.
It's an avalanche.
Nothing to say.
And then they start the game yesterday against Michigan State like that, 23-8. It's like, I don't know.
And Michigan State they do tend to start slow, and they tend to dig their way out, but that's a tough team to climb out against. And there was some great sound afterwards. My fondness for is I've stated it here, Sports Center. Him saying afterwards, this team I love, they were as connected as any team that I've ever had, which is saying a lot. And Jiggy Holloman, who was the guy that broke our heart in College Park with that bomb, he had a brutal day. I believe he was 0 for 10 from 3, and there was a soundbite of him in tears. And you know, it's a reminder of what the cost is, and that at the end is so abrupt, and you go on this journey together, and then all of a sudden it ends. And you know, I have such an admiration for the way that program operates, and the inherent toughness of them. And so, just tip the cap to Michigan State and that group. And you know, you can honor yourself and how you play and come up short, and they did. They just didn't have what Auburn had. And just like, you know, Bama didn't have what Duke had, and Texas Tech kind of had what Florida had. They just couldn't get to the finish line. And Tennessee had a hell of a year. Seeing Ziegler, a guy that's been played through injury, been the guy that made it go. That's the thing about this tournament, man. That's why it's perfect in encapsulating what you feel. You know what I mean? The excitement, the hope, the clean sheet. You see a path, maybe, and then it ends, and it's like, you feel for like that fan base. They've never made it.
Oh, I know,
never made it to the Final Four, which is just a bit of bad luck. But I think more than anything, that speaks to the vagaries of what the tournament can be.
Exactly. You know? That's the suddenness, like. I point it out all the time. Everybody takes shots at guys losing in the tournament. It's the hardest thing in the world.
Right, like Mark Few's not a good coach because he hadn't won a title. Come on, Painter's not a great coach. I mean, I don't know who says that. Like, I don't know. We're not arguing with smart people if we say that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I hear that said a lot by anybody whose opinion matters to me. I think if you watch the games, you go, that guy got some pretty good shit right there.
Well, that's why Kelvin Sampson's so good. Is I saw an interview with him this week where like, do you need a title to have, get some sustain on your career? He's like, no, I love my family too much. I'm like, there you go.
Dude, how about when we had him on after the Juwan Roberts thing where he was just in tears, and I was like, man, that's just the best. You can lead with love and toughness, and it's okay to be that guy. Sampson doesn't need one. He might get one.
Yeah.
You know whose name I haven't said once, and I want to right now? Jon Scheyer. Acknowledge what
had him on the list.
Acknowledge what this guy's done. You want to follow the biggest friggin' shoes that there are, and you slide into some real built-in advantages. That's clear. But pay attention to what you watch. And throughout this year, the big man and I butted heads a little bit because I said two things can be true. I didn't know what to make of Duke because the ACC sucked. And he'd get mad at me and be like, we get it. You don't need to say it anymore. I'm like, because I'm right. But they were beating people by 40 because that's how good they are. And watching him, when it got tense against Arizona, and it got fake tense. It wasn't close, but it's closer than you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And you see him, there's some cut-ups of him giving Cooper a hard time. Good.
Yeah.
You're allowed to coach people hard. Impressed by Jon Scheyer. Was on the list to mention.
I just wanted to ask you, last year you brought up the idea of, didn't have a plan B against NC State and felt like nobody did the way that, defending Burns and that whole thing. So, no, he's
all credit.
He's been unbelievable, man.
Agreed.
That spot and go through whatever.
But I'll tell you
whatever
this,
sport you want.
I'll tell you this. You find out the best in coaching in that 24-hour window from the Thursday to Saturday, and I get that it's 2 days, but you only have 1 day to get ready. But you got all week, but so does Kelvin. So that to me is fascinating to see a guy who's been through it, Oklahoma, Indiana, now in Houston. Do want to get Kelvin a different dress shirt. I feel like there's got to be better gear than the one he wears.
I feel like that's got some juice in that shirt, though.
That must be a good luck. That must be a good luck shirt. But I really want to see what's he come up with. And I don't think that it's gonna it's not like you come out with like trick plays. This isn't football. I want to see what the approach is to try to limit the damage that all the different varieties of Duke. Because you want to limit Cooper, okay. There's too many ways for them to beat you that don't necessitate him, even though he can hang 30 on you in a second.
Well,
too.
I see the one thing in watching it from the Duke fan perspective, they were completely gassed against Bama in the second half. You go back and watch it. Like Cooper falls into the bench one time. Knipple misses you could tell he's like, we got to do this, and then he used Cooper to handle the ball more, knowing how strong James is, and he needed him on the defensive side along with Proctor. So that's fascinating to me because when Houston blitzes you, I mean, it's just you see there's sneakers on the ground, the ball's in the air. The first couple possessions against Purdue, they're like, they got was it first? They're like, they got Lapis was all over. He's like, they got to get him out of there. He can't do it. And then they bring in the kid who made the 3 at the end, 23. I forget his name. I'm sorry. But it's a whole different animal, man. I go back. You and I feel like have not in the minority, but maybe because we follow Big Monday so much, and it's the Big 12 the last 3 or 4 years. Like we think the world of that conference. Whereas,
Big 12,
yeah,
for sure.
Like the SEC, obviously this year did what they did, and the Big 10, your Big 10, Scotty, and we watch that all the time. But the Big 12. I've always thought is a wrecking ball, man. When you go on the road, it's different places. I think you saw Arizona transition to that. But Houston has just wiped the floor with that conference.
They came over from the American.
American.
And
who's in it?
Hard to remember.
Like, seriously.
Wichita.
And they just come in and
Tulane. Yeah,
and they were in there with UConn at the same time too. But
true, but
they became this class.
We thought for certain that there would be a correction to be made.
Correct.
And instead, their record, the 2 years they've been in the Big 12, is the exact same that it was the 2 years prior in the American. Think about that. Think about who's in the Big 12. Think about who you're dealing with. Title-winning coaches. Bill, Drew, among if I start naming, I'm going to forget coaches that have won titles in the Big 12. But those are a couple. And then you got to go to Iowa State. You got to go to Lubbock.
Morgantown.
I mean, buckle up. And now you got to go to Provo. You got to go all over the freaking map.
The fucking place.
And it was a massive step up in competition. And Houston there's been no correction, which is as amazing as anything you could say to join that league and become the yardstick. It's a lot, man. And they don't have, in this age of going out and spending a ton on a dude, like, they just got dudes in their program. That's nuts. That's nuts. Don't do the Duke thing where you pick against him, whatever. Just sitting here right now on a Monday.
Houston wins the national championship.
Okay. You're doing that thing.
Firmly believe it.
Firmly believe it.
Hmm.
So Houston beats Duke and either Florida or Auburn.
I think it's Florida. I just love the matchup that they get. Because you get multiple bigs against Broome. Auburn, I love the 41 and 33 are great. I think Florida matches. I mean, I can't get that game out of going to the barn either, and they dismantled Auburn.
And who was that with? That was without Martin, wasn't it? So they didn't have Martin in that game. We remembered correctly. And you're like, oh, you're down him? Well, that's going to hurt you. Or we'll go down to the jungle
90
on your noggin and leave with the dub. And then they also won in Tuscaloosa, didn't they?
Yeah, senior night.
Yeah, that's where your bald-headed boys here were like, that's the best team in the SEC. February. They've lost 4 games this year. Whew. You feel like it's Florida and Houston?
Yeah.
Okay.
I trust them the most.
I said Duke and Florida before the bracket. I mean, when the brackets came out, and I'm gonna ride with the Gators. Propaganda in full effect.
Got 10K a gear in the house.
I mean, I don't know what it is. We got back from a trip, and let me just tell you, the folks from Gainesville, after Coach Golden was on, and we talked about a little bit of a drama in the household.
Yeah.
They're like, how about we send a little NIL to the youngsters? Is their signature still up for grabs? How about we send, I mean, when I left to come up, they had on headbands, wristbands, flags were out. So sincere thanks to the kind folks in Gainesville who are putting me in a really bad spot vis-a-vis my children and the gear situation. Although their closets are ripe with Maryland gear now, the Gators caught up in one fell swoop. By the way, we just got back from a trip. They're going.
They're going to the Final Four?
They sure are.
Wow.
How about this? This is a true story. Bracket, before the bracket comes out, wifey says, I'm gonna book a room in San Antonio for the title game. I'm like, the title game? She's like, yeah. She goes, it's non-refundable. I said, how much is it? It's a bigger number.
I said, a 4 weekend, yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm this breaking news might shock some of you. I'm not risk averse. Bit of a gambler. Like, let it roll. Let it ride. Ride with the Gators. I love that.
So the whole weekend?
Only had a Sunday night through Monday, and because there was something going on. And then once they had that incredible comeback against Texas Tech, I'm like, you're really going to risk the fact that they could lose to Auburn?
Yeah.
Said, if you're taking the kiddos to the Final Four, got to go to the Final Four. And going Saturday is...
Oh, it's one of my favorite days of the year. When you're there?
Spectacle. And my kids, last night at dinner, on their spring break, and my middle guy caught us. He heard us talking about something. And he walks in and he's got that look your kids get when he said, "What are you talking about?" And my wife tried to hit him with nothing. He's like, "Yeah, okay." He knew something was up. And at dinner, he's like, "So we're going home tomorrow. Been a great trip." He's like, I said, "You know where you're going next week?" And he looks at me. He goes, "To Final Four." Like, yep. Everyone just went crazy.
Yeah.
So we're going to go for the Final Four. We have family there.
Okay.
So there's a place to hang out
Oh man, it's so good.
When the hotel is available.
They're the first game too. That's even better.
That's big because
huge.
I worry about, my little guy won't pass out, but he might. You know what I mean? You could. I mean, I think the national championship it tips at like 9:20. Did they move it up last year? They finally figured it out.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Whatever the case, if they make it Monday night,
all right.
They'll figure it out. Anyway,
if you are a fan of you can't go Saturday, I want to say this from being there so many times, and your team goes to the final and you want to go, because there's plenty of tickets. There's tickets all over the place for the title game Monday night. I feel like I want to say this every year. You could get in these are in the Alamo Dome's the dome, but if you have a chance to go and your team, I know it's quick and everything, but go. There's tickets all over the place. Just from being at an event and trying to relay messages to people that have never gone. Now I know we have 4 giant fan bases, but if you'll find them, I promise you'll find them. Which gets me to couple tournament point outs I want to do.
Go ahead.
Can we assign the tickets so the section behind the team's benches isn't empty for every game? It's horrible looking.
Yeah, I think
all the time.
Well, but for instance, if the Florida fans are behind the Florida bench and then they leave after their game, then those seats are just going to be empty.
But just put them across the court. Better seat anyway. You don't want to be behind the bench. These guys are 6'7". Florida's got a guy at 7'9".
He's a bigger guy.
Just see him give Golden the high five.
He's very tall.
Oh my God.
Legit 7'9".
I need Charlie with a picture with him.
All right, we'll see if we can make that happen.
Yeah, and the gray sneakers got to go, guys. If you're wearing a white uniform, you can't wear gray sneakers.
I think the sneaker police. I think that horse has left the barn. They got guys that wear different colored shoes. You got 5 guys. This used to drive me nuts. When I was a kid, everybody wore the same shoes.
Yeah.
Now everyone has different shoes. My kids are like, "Why does everyone have different shoes?"
Good on them.
Right? Let's sort out the shoes. Let's get a uniform shoe.
Yeah, and the white cleats in baseball gotta go. They're horrendous.
Torpedo bats? Why is everyone complaining?
Use them.
Just get them. How hard is this? This is against the rules. The Yankees are violating the rules, and they can do it because they're the Yankees. You can do it too. Maruch, they'll make some barrels for you, right? Get our guys down there in Baton Rouge on the case. They'll barrel you up.
They'll know a guy.
I just think everyone, they're just mad. They did score like 20, right?
Yeah, and Judge has 4, but I don't think he uses it.
Doesn't he?
I don't know.
This is my disclaimer, out of the country, baseball consumption somewhat limited. Although you have like that Caribbean thing where you're changing a channel and it could be cricket or it could be the Astros. Like, it made absolutely no sense at all. My kids are like, always the question, what have I told you? Every single day, Dad, are there any sports on? And we'd wake up and I'd say, it'd be 8:30 in the morning. Is there any sports on? I'd say, you know what? Probably something. And then we'd put on cricket or like some soccer game. And I'm like, no one knows one person involved in this, but there's a moving ball and there's a green field. And like, if you're good and no one's yelling, let's leave it on.
Yeah. Till they turn around and they hit the ball backwards. That's where they lost me.
On cricket?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's a tough one for me to grasp. I've told this story to you before. Ernie Els and Nick Price, many 100 years ago, early days of Golf Channel, they tried to give me the what for on what cricket was, and they could sense that I wasn't grasping it. Sometimes it's a test match. Sometimes it's like 5 days. It's, what's it called? When it's not an inning, it's a thing. Somebody that knows.
No idea. They're screaming at the.
I know. I'm sorry. I know the answer to this. A try. Maybe it's to try. Maybe.
Comes with the theme of this year.
Just try. It's not a try, Steve. It's an over. Over.
Yeah, got it.
We cheated. Like I knew tried wasn't right.
Got it.
Did my work on the bill from the hotel here when I was doing late night scribbling about the tournament.
Over.
Cricket. So last week when we talked, it was Monday, right? Maryland had
we left TGL together.
Maryland had just beaten Colorado State when we did our pod. Mm-hmm. And there was great concern, which had been building for weeks, about the possibility of Maryland and Florida meeting in that Thursday night game, 1-4, San Francisco. And I said my kids were going to have to choose a lane. We're going to have to pick a side. Who are you going to ride with, mom or dad, etc. And Monday we talked. And I think it was
You did part of my take, too.
Tuesday, I think.
We're at TGL.
Tuesday we're at TGL. Wednesday morning. Tuesday morning. I think I did. I was on with Big Cat and PFT. And at that point, we were talking about the Derek Queen shot and the people complaining about the traveling and, hey, what's going on? Like, what's the week with Willard? I'm like, they're talking. Both sides are talking. We'll figure this stuff out. And Thursday night's the game. By Thursday night of last week, it was real clear where this was headed from Maryland fans' perspective. And so, unfortunately, by that day/night, I'm not going to say I didn't care. That would be a lie. Of course I cared. I wanted this team to win. But the whole thing was wrapped up in this really sad package of, when this ends, the whole thing ends. And by that, I mean, Juju's a senior. Queen's going to go to the NBA. Selton Miguel's done as well. He transferred in for his senior year, graduate year, I believe. And Willard's taken the Nova job. And everyone knew it. And so by that Thursday, I was in a not a great space because I was really, really pissed. Because we all knew the outcome. And there's part of this that, like, there's all of it I get. I get it. 100% I get it. And there's an old Louis C.K. bit about, of course, but maybe. And the gist of the jokes where the setup was, of course, if you have a peanut allergy, we should make sure that you don't have anything with a peanut because we don't want anything bad to happen. But maybe if a peanut kills you, you're supposed to die. That was the gist of it. So I'd say it this way. Of course, Kevin Willard can go to Villanova. Of course, you can go back to your Big East roots. Of course, if it's better for your family. We're savages, but we're not soulless savages. If it's better for your family, of course. Of course. You're a Jersey guy. Gets you close to that. Of course. All of these things. Of course. Villanova is not a good job. It's a great job. It's a great university, of course. But maybe you don't take a giant shit on the front steps of the house you've lived in for the last 3 years. You don't do damage to the university and program where you've been for 3 years. And you don't take the efforts of the people behind the scenes who've largely done, like poured their hearts and souls into this for free for you to try to fill in the gaps and tell them that I love this university and I just want it to be great. And I'm anal and I'm an a-hole and I just want this program to be the best it can be. Maybe you don't tell those people that to their face repeatedly. When everyone in the industry is saying to me, Scott, why are you guys wasting your time? This is done. Everyone in the business knows it. He's gone. It's really difficult because I'm too close to it. Mm-hmm. Big Cat said something to me about, no one loves a team more than you love Maryland. I thought about it. I'm like, I laugh. We talked a lot about Maryland this year, the Crab Five. I'm on the fans to be supportive. I try to be as vocal and visible as I can as an alum that everyone knows who I ride with, and it's them. Mm-hmm. And this year was so much fun. Mm-hmm. It was so much fun. And Kevin Willard was a huge part of that. Did an awesome job in the portal. I praised him. Did an awesome job with the team. Analytics, different approach, going a little faster, this, that, and the other thing. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then, unfortunately, the entire thing got sabotaged and hijacked by a 2-week-long storyline that wouldn't go away. No matter how much he tried to deflect or go on with Sheehan locally, the guy we referenced a lot, where he did the as of right now, Kevin did a great job asking very pointed questions.
If you get everything you want.
If Maryland gives you everything you want, of course. And that's the part that's really, really hard to not allow to bother me because I know the people involved. Mm. And because I was very vocal in saying I agreed with him that he should get those things. 100%. He was not wrong. But what really troubles me is asking good and decent people that busted their ass on your behalf to jump through hoops, to give you the things you say you want, knowing full well nothing they give you, A, B, C, and D ain't going to be enough because you're gone. And it was the exact same script as when we got him from Seton Hall. Mm-hmm. Almost to the same lines. Some folks tweeted him out. The side-by-side of what he had to say after they lost in the first round to TCU when he was at Seton Hall and what he had to say after they lost to Florida. Almost verbatim. Well, I haven't talked to anybody. I have an agent. Yeah, you got an agent, Jimmy Sexton. He's the best agent in sports. I haven't talked to my family. Your family's been with you in Seattle and San Francisco. You haven't talked to them about this? But then it's interesting. You haven't talked to your agent. You haven't talked to your family. You don't know anything about a job offer, but this is going to be a family decision. What decision is there to make? You don't know anything about a job? You haven't talked to anybody? You don't know what you're going to do? You're Maryland's coach. You have a 4-year contract. There's no decision to make. Oh, wait, except there is because you're going up there Saturday. You're going to take the job. And again, let's go back to the beginning. Of course, you can go to Nova. You can go back to the Big East, and it makes more sense to you, of course. But it was a 2-week storyline that completely took the joy of a season, and by the time that game started, rendered it the whole thing was just dissolved. And that's infuriating, man. And it's the tricky part is, as I've said a million times, no coach is going anywhere until they go somewhere. And when they lost at Seton Hall, it happened in the first round. So by the second round, you could be in your new gig. And it actually would have been better for Maryland had Queen missed, because then you could have taken the job last week and Maryland wouldn't be in this situation they're in right now. Because the whole program is going to implode as a result of the timing of this. Because everyone's going to be in the portal. There's this time frame where you've got to have commitments for the people as of April the 7th to spend the money that all of these people have raised on his behalf in the NIL, or you can't spend it. But there's no coach and there's no AD. And again, the things that he chose to put out there publicly about the situations, he wasn't wrong. That 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But it went on for 2 weeks, and the longer it went on, the more difficult it became to avoid the noise in the business. And there's a lot more here than I'll obviously say. But, you know, Louis C.K., of course you can play the game with the media. Of course you can play the semantics about what you intend to do. But maybe you don't give a lengthy and detailed speech to your team and your coaches about all the reasons why you're not going to take the job that you then take. Because I don't get that either. You know, not mistruths or half-truths or playing with the language with the media is kind of something coaches have to do. But messing around with what your intentions are with your team, that's just the team. And only you and they know what you say. Although I know people in the room, so I know what you said too. And the thing that bothers me personally is that I really like the guy. Mm-hmm. I really do. And when he came here, it was like, you're going to love, Jay Wright said you're going to love him. Jay, you're right. Jay Wright, Jay, you're right. Jay, we'll be right back. You're right. One of us, I told all my friends, he's like everybody, 10 guys just like him from when you went to Maryland. Loves sports, loves to play golf, loves a glass of wine, ball buster, joke teller, and a hell of a ball coach. Like, you're psyched that he's here. And I was psyched to try to help behind the scenes with the people that I know to try to put him in the best position and get all those things that he said he wanted. And then when they got him, it just didn't matter. That's just really difficult. It's really difficult. But it's this the deep end of the pool, and this is the transactional nature of the sport right now. It's a year-to-year thing. Got to watch the Crab Five this year. It'll be a completely new team. Got to get an AD. Got to get a coach. Got to do it in a week. Here we go. So it's been been difficult. And I was really bummed at the way it all played out, because it didn't have to play out this way.
That's
Odom, everyone knew, was leaving VCU for Virginia. The guy Maryland beat in the second round, Medved, everyone knew he was leaving Colorado State for Minnesota. Didn't go like this. It didn't go like this. And this is twice in 3 years. Twice in 3 years that he's done the exact same thing the exact same way. And I don't know. Of course, you're always going to be remembered at Maryland, but maybe not for the way we thought it would be when you promised them at the introductory press conference, I promise I'll never let you down. That's what you said. This was a whole lot more than that. This was different than a letdown, man. I'm too close to too many people that I know have busted their ass to try. And there's nothing that's more bothersome to me than wasting your time for no good reason. And you're fumbling all over yourselves to try to put your best offer out there. And it's like, look, man, it ain't going to make any difference. And it didn't.
Yeah, I know how close you are to it, and it sucks. What I will say is there was no way he was going to win this situation. It was a winless situation, and he made an absolute mess of it. An absolute mess of a winless situation. You pointed out the other guys. People knew they were going here or there. And in the storm that was, they were the talk of the tournament after the Queen shot.
And you had the guys from Part of My Take saying by the end of the week, I just feel bad for Maryland. They should be happy, and no one was, because everyone knew this was happening.
And It's a prideful place. You know, talk about the Maryland man, the whole thing. You guys were robbed of what should be the best 4 days of your season, going to the Sweet 16.
It was the first time in a decade.
Yeah.
And this is where, this is not me being like knocking him. It's the first time, and it's as a fact, in 18 years as a coach, it's the first time he ever made the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
So it should have been a time for him to enjoy this moment and for Maryland fans to enjoy this moment together. But we all knew that fork in the road was coming, whether it was against Florida or whenever. And it came that night against Florida. I'm sorry I interrupted when you were talking there.
But there's a bunch of stuff that's lost, that gets lost in this, and that celebration of 4 days leading up to playing the number one seed in the bracket is gone because of the turmoil. The job that he did in the last 12 months is incredible.
Awesome
with
job.
How bad they were to what he got this team to be in going to the Sweet 16. That's gone. You can't even celebrate that because you have nothing but bad things to think and say about a guy who lied. And again, you point out the other situations, an absolute winless situation. The idea of this Big East coaching fraternity, I think, is pretty strong.
It's more like a mafia than a coaching.
I told you, I when there was whispers 3 weeks ago, I'm like, I don't know, man. This sounds like stuff I've, grown up in Big East country, and there's that tight knit thing. But I do think it sucks for the pride of Maryland because of the tombstones he overturned and pointing out the issues he had with the place.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have two guys that had left and have made it known that they weren't happy with who was in charge at that place.
And
Does that make sense?
Yes. And that is the net positive of all of this. We're in a bizarre way that nobody can see at the moment, but at some point you're going to say, thank you, because in pantsing this place in the way they did, it's a moment of reckoning where it should force every single person at that university to say, okay, why did our last coach leave in December? Because they had issues with the athletic director. And this coach airs out the athletic director in advance of the tournament. Well, now that athletic director is no longer at Maryland. So other than having no AD, no basketball coach, and you have to have your NIL money committed by the end of the week, we're in great shape. But it's a net positive in forcing Maryland to try to figure out it's probably going to be, the cadence is going to be off.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to go coach AD, and most coaches would like to know who the AD is. But I will say this, another net positive is people, I get the joke, oh, you guys are NIL poor. Actually, no, because at the 11th hour, when people are trying to sweeten the pot for a guy who was already leaving, I happen to know some very wealthy friends that made some very significant 2-comma donations. So whoever the next person is, going to have some dough to spend.
Yeah.
Because this, I think, has been a push of the reset button where everyone's like, hey, what Kevin said was right. Again, I backed him. Said you guys got to give him what he wants because he's not wrong. Well, now you got people that are saying, figure it out. Be better. Get an AD that is pulling the rope in the same direction. I'm just so sick. And this is real inside the bellway. And this is just for the Maryland people that I know are listening. We got to be better as a university in pulling the rope in the same direction and stop this bullshit faction fiefdom. You got this thing, we got that thing. Pull the rope in the same friggin' direction so that this crap stops happening. Because this is on everybody. And I put myself in the middle of that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You're way closer to it. But I think also what happened was a lot of the Maryland fan base was hurt by this because they looked at that Villanova, the job, as like same level. It's not even close.
Well, particularly given the situation
where he's going.
As it relates to the Big East and the ability, You know the thing you'll notice about Butler, Xavier, Villanova, Creighton, St. John, Seton Hall, Georgetown, et cetera, DePaul, they don't have football teams they got to share the dough with. Also, Nova's got some real wealthy donors who did not enjoy being irrelevant for 3 years when they didn't make the tournament, so they're super motivated to give him a ton of cash. I will counter that, do you think Petiti and Sankey are going to allow a situation moving forward where somehow the Big East has an advantage of an ability to funnel money to their basketball people that somehow they can't? My guess is no. They're power brokers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have power. So I'm sure they're going to try to figure out, how do we make this work in a way that doesn't put us at a disadvantage as it relates to all those Big East schools? But Nova's history, and most of it's tied to a guy who I adore in Jay Wright.
No doubt.
I mean, hey, Massimino, an incredible night, we all know. But Jay made it something really, really special.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought their guy, Neptune, could take it and keep it going, and he didn't. And they have great reverence for Willard because of their familiarity with him during his time at Seton Hall. And so you get why it happened.
Correct.
From their perspective and from Kevin's. I just wonder moving forward just how long the other conferences are going to look at the Big East and go, all right, so hold on. How do we prevent them from having all their money to funnel into basketball? Well, right now you can't.
No.
Right now you can't.
No. But it's considerably more than at Maryland right now.
Not considerably after some real rich people.
The revenue.
Understood, but you got motivated rich people going, how much do y'all need? They are not in the ATM at the casino down situation. They're all set.
I was going to say, you said April 7th. They could get the funds before that. But
that's not the issue. You have to have players committed to take it, and they don't know who their coach is going to be. And so I'm not getting into anything else as it relates to details, trying to be professional.
I hear you, man.
It's just it was a real bummer, and I'm glad it's 5 or 6 days later than the state of mind. I'm sitting in the Turks and Caicos, and I'm furious. And I gotta let that go. It's like, you gotta be, like Kevin says, he's an a-hole. I gotta be, and I am one too, but I gotta be a gigantic asshole to be sitting in this beach mad right now over the coach.
I sense that from your text the morning of the Florida game, and that's why my man
safe.
Air it out.
This is the reality of where we're at, man.
Yeah. No,
everything's transactional, and who's got the most NIL. There's 1,700 people in the portal. Just wait in the coming days and weeks to see the players that are going to come out there. The word I hear from agents, again, about two. That's the number.
Million.
2 million if you can play. 2.5, maybe 3. I won't name names, but some this weekend. There's a big player that switched from, I'm not saying anything, over 3. Over 3. And I'm telling you, like, there's the rumors that Smith's got a 4 next to his name, and that ain't at Purdue. And that's where this whole situation is so hopelessly fucked. And I get Billis. He can get mad and say the coaches' portal is always open. Of course, but how many coaches have left? A handful. And every player, like, this is what we want the sport to be. You root for a team for a year. Like, Purdue didn't have one transfer. Like, there was a great breakdown somebody put out of where they started. And Purdue just had giant boiler up next to all their name. And most schools, it's just like 5 different pictures that weren't the school where they started. And of course, get the players some money. Unionize CBA contracts has to happen. But this is the last year of the Wild West where moving forward, it's revenue share. And theoretically, you won't be able to do it out in the open anyway.
No, there might be some upper sales and brown bags coming back. You know?
Hey, everybody's figured out who their marks are now.
Correct.
And now you just figure out a different way to do it, I guess. But It's been an interesting couple of weeks.
Sorry it was robbed from you, man.
I'm just bummed for the people that I know that I care about who invest so much effort and time and money to try to fill in the gaps for a situation that wasn't good enough, but is a whole lot better now. Again, the next person will inherit a hell of a lot better situation. And again, the solid that the guy did was forced my university to address the shortcomings that it had within that department and the ways that they'd failed, and they got to be better moving forward. So, I don't know. Try to help as best I can. Try to put people together, have conversations that make things better.
Network?
I mean, I know some people. And you know what? I make no apologies for, I love my university. I've loved Maryland basketball my whole life. And it's been a part of my whole life. And we got to be reasonable with what we've been, Yeah, Maryland won a title. Hadn't been in the Sweet 16 in a decade, man. So figure it out, pull the rope in the same direction. I think I told the story, like me and Plank with a T-shirt. Like, that's a metaphor. Just two guys that were like, hey, we could do a thing if we, could you guys help us out? Yeah. It shouldn't be difficult, but sometimes at a big state school, a lot of people that have things going on that can be hard to get everybody on the same page. Like, the T-shirt's a metaphor. People that love the university, they want to do a cool thing. Well, now you got to do it on a much bigger and much more important scale and get this right. Because this situation that's now happened twice in 3 years, this can't go on.
Alignment.
I did have a coach tell me, though, which was kind of cool. Like, that's still a Monday night job, meaning a place where you could play on a Monday night in April. And I said, that's a cool thought.
Oh, yeah.
The whole top this and that, money's made it. Who has the most money is what is a top something job. But somebody's going to want to coach there, and whoever it is, I'll be happy to support and do what I can to raise my voice, raise money if that's what's necessary.
Yeah, if you need a cooler coach, keep the cooler cold for postgame, I'm your guy.
My wife said she'll do it. Make sure she's like, I'm really good at making sure everybody's got their shoes tied and has gone potty. How about that speech? All right, guys. Hey, I would say a player's name, but every one of them's in the portal, so I won't. Jacoby, I assume you're going to Tennessee. Have fun in Knoxville. Has everyone gone potty? All right. Let's go.
Did you see her? I saw her post the day of the game.
Oh, the kids in the Gator gear?
Yeah, when mom packs I almost responded, but I knew what the emotions were from your text that I woke up to that morning. But I wanted to respond. What trip does Dad pack the bags for? Because I'm right there with you.
Dad has his responsibilities on the trip.
Yeah.
I got my responsibilities.
We're coming off a work trip.
I didn't wear my shirt. I was so mad I didn't wear my shirt. Had my crab shirt, didn't wear it. I'm a middle-aged man pouting about the situation. What are we doing? I was so pissed. It was just such a bummer. But Seton Hall fans like, hey, you did the same thing to us. Yep. This is true.
That came out real. They had that one in the holster.
Well, and they're not wrong.
No.
The difference was that extra week.
Yeah. The
extra week is where it got real dodgy.
And the whole thing is staying out west, going from Seattle to San Francisco. Nobody's back here. Like, didn't talk to his family. They were with him for 2 weeks.
Didn't talk to his agent either. But we have a decision to make. About what? You haven't talked to anybody about anything.
Let's see.
It's the exact same thing he said when he came to our place. Twice in 3 years. But back in the Big East, which probably makes a hell of a lot more sense to him. I'm sure. I know it does. I miss the Garden, miss being close to Jersey. He'll do well there. I'm certain of it. And whoever, like I said, whoever comes College Park, it'll be a great gig. You can have a bunch of dough and go get them. What else you got?
Good tears in the house last night after the LSU game.
I was afraid of that.
Tough one. I give her credit. She went out and got shots up after.
There you go.
Came back, cleared the head. Give her credit.
Stay in a fight, and then you know what? You know what? And When I'll apply this to me. Stay in the fight. When one fight ends, new fight begins. We got a lot of fucking T-shirts we got to make, man.
Did you see Gino talking about the women's tournament and how it's a travesty and they ruined the sport because they put a pod in Spokane and Birmingham and the Final Four is in Tampa? Did you see that sound?
I didn't.
Before
I saw Beckers go nuts. By the way, we follow them tonight and
can't wait. But it's just Mulkey went nuts on like it's brutal of this pod thing they have where one is in Spokane. And Gino pointed out, they're playing tonight, Monday night, right? If they win, or who are they playing? USC wins.
Correct.
Their biggest game of their life is Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
They got Tuesday and Wednesday to get Wednesday, whatever way you want it. You're cheating them.
Right.
You know? And he's like, you're ruining the sport. And he made the point because I guess the women's committee has made many comments about the men's committee. He's like, the men play Saturday and Sunday. They don't play till Saturday. So if you want to travel, you could travel. Look at what you're doing Monday night, and you have to play Friday night in their biggest game of their life. It's and he's got plenty of backing now from the coaches, knowing that you got two teams that are trying to win a national title that have to go from Spokane to Tampa.
I thought Maryland might get South Carolina. They had them on not on the ropes because it wasn't fourth quarter, but they battled. So did Duke.
Yeah, tough games. There's some brutal whistles. Oof.
We got to work on the whistles, man.
LSU right in front of the bench goes out a 3-point game. Saying.
That girl's in tears over here.
We're good, though. We're good. No, I'm watched everything.
Can I give another shout? I don't know who I'm asking. I'm giving a shout. Shout to Min Woo Lee in the building.
Oh, yeah.
Shout to Gary Woodland while we're at it. Woody. Our guy Woody.
If you haven't seen the full swing episode on him, you just watch that one. You know him way better than I. I've been able to hang out a couple times. What he went through, man. And
real close. But
they show him going in for the exams and everything. It is.
For those that don't know, Gary Woodland had a brain tumor and surgery and been through it, man. And he's won the Courage Award last year. Battled his butt off, hit it to like a foot on 18 to get to within one. But Min Woo Lee, who got the dub, might have seen him in TGL. I just sit around and do the Chris Berman because I've reached that stage. I started to tweet it, but then I just didn't. I just don't know how many people know J. Rue the Damager. Probably not.
People that do will love it. Because now he's Min Woo the Damager.
When I watch him, I do Berman voice going, Min Woo the Damager. We'll be right back. Think how funny that would be to call him Min Woo the Damager. And the 28 people that would get the J. Rue the Damager, one would be Rosillo, who loved the J. Rue.
Yeah.
Anyway, Min Woo, big win. Although the aim point with come on, knock it in, dude.
You didn't like that?
That was a little fun.
Yeah. I think it's super impressive you get Scotty coming down your throat.
That's not the guy you want in the rear view. And Rory, by the way, just if there were like 8 more holes, it would have been Scheffler McIlroy playoff.
Oh.
We'll be in Augusta.
Cashmere got a top 20.
There's our guy. We'll be in Augusta in a week.
I don't even know why he puts buttons on his golf shirts. Him and Big Rig don't even put buttons on their shirts.
I got one word for you both. Nude. You won't do it. Actually, Big Rig did.
Yeah.
Big Rig did. Then he got the talking to from the tour. Yeah. Cashmere's he's a casual dude. Yes. Anything else?
No, we got some work. You're going to Augusta?
Yep.
Kids are going to national title? Final Four?
Florida NIL'd them they big boyed them with a bag. I don't have a coach or an AD.
We got a coach.
Yeah, you got a new football
Frank
coach.
Reich. How does that work?
He's going to hold the rope for a year.
How do you recruit to that?
I thought about that. Look, I'm a pro coach. I'm going to be here, hang out. We'll figure it out. I don't know. I don't know what the approach is.
Listen.
We're going to have a national search with a former NFL coach on our sideline while we're doing it. But, like, who's staying for that?
And, like, who wants to come to that? Listen, I trust Andrew in anything he does. Anything. It was just something that came to mind. I'm like, we're talking about basketball, how everything's changing. I mean, football, the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
And our recruiting pool is very limited because you got to get admitted to school first. So I'm sure he's on top of it, but it was just one thing. I'm super happy. I love Frank Reich. They had a great year together in Indianapolis. And sounds like a bunch of the staff is intact. Did see some of our best players go in the portal, but hey, root for the team that plays.
I'll root for whoever wears the uniform next year. At the moment, I don't know who that's going to be.
You in Indiana?
They don't have a player, right?
Not one.
Yeah, but they got dough to spend.
Yeah, they got a coach. Oh, and his son. Yeah. They have one player, right?
And an AD. Well, yeah, his son after the surgery, right? I don't know did he have surgery. If he does, they got a good player. I got a 7-year-old that'll make threes for days. Going to be handles a little bit suspect.
Is the driving still different in Turks?
What do you think? They changed to the American side? Yeah, they drive on the wrong side of the road.
But it's American cars.
Some are, some aren't.
It's the craziest thing.
It's a little willy-nilly there. Some you look left side driving, right side driving, but you are on the left side of the road.
I don't even think I was 12 hours married and I thought I was going to die pulling out of the airport. Because you see the car coming and the guy pulls out, but you stay on that side. It's crazy.
I had a flashback. I almost got hit by a dump truck in Australia with that. We went to pull out, didn't look, and at the last second, and I'm talking a dump truck.
I rode a bicycle to that grocery store.
Yeah?
Basically got booze and chips, and it was $100. Like, glad we got some cash.
Well, remember, if you go, bring a cartoon bag with the money sign on the side because there's nowhere to get money. And there's a lot to love about that island. But if I went and I was ready to get some action on the table and I showed up and you told me you have no ATM, what are we, talking stick here? I can't get a credit line? There's no ATM?
No credit.
What am I to do?
Leave.
I'll just
the casino.
You know what? How about I put my debit card in, then you run that, and then how about that?
It works.
Let's talk about that.
Quickly, I love how you consume entertainment from Twitter. What are people saying about the White Lotus finale?
I don't know.
No?
I
usually you come across them and you're like, hey.
I watched the scene about the lady boy, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what Goggins is doing. He made a lot of faces because I guess this is a guy that was his buddy, and he took a little bit of a detour into the, experimentation. Just explore the space.
He's also in.
What happened in the finale? Some good stuff.
The finale's next week, so it's all lined up.
It's all coming together on the old Lotus.
But right after White Lotus, that Righteous Gemstones comes on.
There you go. Goggins is on both.
The opening scene, he's water skiing nude.
There you go.
And Bunky Perkins sent out a thing. He was like, "Can we nominate the opening scene of Gemstones for an X Games award?"
Nude.
Oh, I was crying laughing.
Full nude?
Full nude. Trunk and everything.
Wow. That's aggressive.
Oh, man. Oh, it was entertaining. We
didn't have that in down there. We had a lot of high line cricket.
There you go.
But I did not see anyone water skiing naked. Missed that. Kids went up in the parasailing.
They like it?
My wife, who has jumped out of airplanes, she's like, I think I'm washed because I was definitely scared. You're hundreds of feet up in the air.
Yeah, it's there's no speed.
Right.
And that's why, like, you start, we're not a heights guy.
No.
And that's when you start thinking, because you're just, it's like you're standing in the air.
My guy on the boat tried to shame me into going, and there were several attempts, and then I finally said, my man, you have nothing to threaten me with.
I did it.
I will not go up in this.
Yeah.
Stop talking to me about going up. I'm happy to chat, but there'll be no sailing for me.
99 Final Four in Tampa, St. Pete. Me and the boys went up.
Vela?
Yeah. Vela, yeah. And
fellow O-lineman.
And defensive end. He'll get mad.
I just like to say O-lineman.
And sure enough,
I think all of your guys are meathead guards.
Sure enough, like, you sit in this, like, rope netting, and it was basically just a cross.
Like mesh on your balls?
So here's the deal. Because I leaned back too far, my shorts were fully pulled down. My ass is hanging out the whole time. I have pictures of my buddies taking pictures. They're like, "Hey, ass!"
Wait, you got butt cheeks being like squished by mesh?
But they're hanging out the back because there's a space in the back.
Cheeks?
And the rope just took my shorts, and you can't reach over. And my arm, I couldn't pull my shorts up. And so we get down there, we're walking the beach after, and they're like, "Hey, here's the ass man." I was ass man for a whole spring break weekend.
I bet you were.
It was.
But that's a great way to end this one. It's been tough sledding for your boy, and I just got a visual of my man's buns, hundreds of feet above. Where were we?
Bare ass, St. Petersburg.
Just moon over St. Pete. There he is.
The Orioles played Cuba that day. In Cuba.
All anyone remembers is seeing a big white ass floating majestically through the air.
Yeah. So you know how long that ride felt.
Oh, that's got to be a lengthy one.
It was.
Really nowhere to go from there.
No, sorry.
We'll see it through this week on the old Centrale Sports Center.
Just real quick, shout out TGL. It was awesome.
Oh, that's right.
Awesome.
We haven't. I apologize.
Awesome.
Didn't get a chance to say that. Michael McCarley and the SoFi folks that created that thing. It was really neat.
If you get a chance to go because it's a million times better than it is there. I know you want to watch Scott on TV, but go. You should get to hear him over the speakers. It's fantastic. The building, the technology,
hospitality,
bar setup. How about the grub? Lobster, shrimp.
Yeah, the big man was gone.
Sauce station.
Yeah, he was over there just shrimp.
Oh,
little. Yeah.
A1 red carpet, like the whole thing. I'm rooting my butt off for them. Speaking of my butt, but they have A1 event. Awesome.
It was excellent. It was excellent. I feel like I've been gone for about a month and a half. So
you have.
We're back, ready to hunker down, then go to Augusta for my favorite work week of the year. So I guess we'll be doing a pod next week from somewhere down
San
there.
Antonio.
Well, the fam might. We might.
Oh, you're not going.
No.
All right.
My team lost.
Let's party this weekend. Home alone? Here we go.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Cater, DJ.
Sandwiches for dinner.
That's not an entree. We order some.
I saw a picture.
Of what?
You.
Doing what?
Eating a sandwich for dinner.
When?
In Florida.
What? Sandwich for dinner?
Yep.
These are lies.
Want me to show it to you?
Yes. Hold on, the pod's not over yet. We have a sandwich for dinner controversy.
We got evidence.
All right. My wife sent you this? This is bullshit. Oh, that's true.
Oh. But
that is true. That
wolfing a sandwich.
Yeah, that's when I see pictures of myself eating is when I really have moments of just like I need to do a better job. Here's what happened. I had to leave to go up to Florida for TGL. I was unaware of the fact that there was going to be a elaborate buffet there that I could peruse. And so I was like, okay, let's grab some vittles from where we are. The issue was there was really nowhere to go to get a proper meal.
On-site sandwich.
So what we have here is a blackened mahi sandwich, which was lovely, but it was not what I would call dinner as much as it was a sandwich at 5 o'clock is what this was. But Steve did provide, somebody will...
We'll send it to the...
Yeah, we'll send it to our people.
We have evidence Scott ate a sandwich for dinner. That's all.
Yeah, and again, there's some hanging out the side of my mouth. I'm in a full suit.
I will say, you wear a suit whenever we're working, you have a suit on.
Correct.
Awesome suits. Style beyond years. I'll never understand how good you are with it.
Thanks, pal.
They're excellent. You never get anything on them.
That's not...
Couple times, maybe a little soy sauce on the tie.
Yeah.
But how many times you eat and how you eat?
That's fair.
You should be proud of yourself.
All right. So here's what we got. We've had a difficult couple weeks, but we got the Steve's ass parasailing visual, right? That's a win. And hey, Scott, most of the time you eat, you don't get shit all over your suits.
Oh, I'd say 94%.
It's an A. I'm an A eater. All right. That's a positive one to send you off into your week. Any coaches out there, get at me. I'm happy to put you in touch with the folks. Elaborate NIL funds. Do not believe what you've heard. I know some billionaires.
How long is this search taking?
I mean, we're trying to fast track it, and by we I mean them. I'm just sort of trying to funnel anything that I might hear on the old trail. I just never dreamt this would be where we were sitting on April the 1st. I mean, you got to be kidding me. It's like the whole thing was a fever dream. It was fun. A lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it was fun. All right. Before we go, picture Steve's ass squeezed by mesh 200 feet over your head. Take care.